Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Palmega and Greater Germanic Reich. So in the last episode we have finished the cooperation tree, I would call it, the lighter hand, under the fate of our conquests, and right now we should get the event at the stroke of the pen. I wonder what it's gonna do. We also significantly increased our debt, but with that said, we are now going to reform the Luftwaffe, which should be a fairly cheap thing. Though, unfortunately, the inflation increased insanely in the past few days. So now our real GDP growth is only 9.86, but again, that's still 4% above the euro deficit, so the debt to GDP should drop. I would like to mention that we are now at 382.62 billion in GDP, but the interest rate and inflation are making the 310.57 billion that we have in debt really bad. And by the way, I found out that the social market actually tracks from fully decentralized to fully centralized. So as we are now fully decentralized, we get extra construction speed and production efficiency base. Fully centralized would give us extra factory, a dockyard, output, resource gain efficiency, and production efficiency cap of 10%. But, you know, that is still fine. So the GDP has increased in the past just a couple of years, actually, from September 68, from roughly 325 billion to the 386 billion. But I'm a bit worried about United States. Oh no, actually they are at about the same thing, so their growth has significantly dropped. Okay, we are very close to them. Japan is at 291. And Commonwealth of Britain is growing fast, but as they are starting so weak, it's not going to be fast enough. Anyway, let's... actually, we finished that event and never scheduled another one. So now let's go with... were you supposed to bomb that? I like that one. General Speidel, working with the R&D, has brought some very interesting reports to the Führer's attention. Reports that, quite contrary to previous ones, do not paint the Luftwaffe's bomber command in a positive light. For years they flew missions over Russia, bombing anything resembling a city, factory or military base. But that's not all. Previously suppressed communiques have revealed unauthorized targeting of native communities throughout Eastern Europe. God knows how many have been turned against the Reich by these missions, or how much harm they have done to the RK administration. So this would be Russland Commissariat administrations. Reich Commissariat administrations, because that's a plural. The motive behind these attacks remains unclear to us, though the R&D suspects Burgundian infiltration with the goal of fostering chaos in the East. A very thorough investigation into this possibility is in order, especially with our new friendly policies towards the people of Europe. If Himmler has his fingers in the Air Force, he's about to lose them. Okay. We don't really know much about the Ordenstab. Oh, and it looks like the French resistance is winning the war handsomely. 19 divisions? Yeah, they eliminated most of the enemies. So, at the stroke of the pen, Speer released a harsh sigh as he looked down at the photographs taken during the round trip of the militarists still in Germany, his agents bringing them into cars, delivering them to the airports. From there, they would be sent out into Moscovia to be with the madman of an officer, the cursed Schörner. At least, Speer thought, having these people gently encouraged out of the Reich and into the East would keep them from doing anything Schörner would have wanted them to do while he was counting trees. The Führer chuckled bitterly at the idea. The madman counting trees. He wondered if a Russian reader had found some humor in the same idea he found just now. He eventually stood up, walked around his desk and out of his office, absent-mindedly going through the corridors of the Chancellery, thinking about the things he and his government were free to do now that those people of the likes of Schörner would finally be out of here. He stopped at the portrait of Adolf Hitler, studying him in a more civilian attire. The Führer once looked up to him, owing him for the opportunities given to him. He earned much from what Hitler did, and now he was gone. At least now, Speer wondered, a new Germany wouldn't have to worry about the excesses which Hitler promoted. For now, Germany would be free from the warmongering dogs. For the good of the Reich. For the good of the Reich. Alexis von Roene. Well, you got 16 divisions. You got quite a lot of divisions as well. So the Commonwealth of Siberia is going to defeat the Far Eastern Soviet Socialist Republic, and then they are going to turn on each other. Which is gonna be interesting to see. A simple test. The declining quality of the Heer has been known for a long time, but the Luftwaffe didn't escape the stagnation born of final victory over the Allies. It seems that owing to a shortage of recruits, Luftwaffe command repeatedly slackened the training standards for any new pilots. This has bred a generation of men who might know how to fly a plane, but not the proper conduct for missions or their higher responsibilities. To be sure, there remain many skilled and dedicated men in the ranks and file, but they are swamped by the incompetent and the undeserving. We are not uncaring bureaucrats or savage hemorrhoids, so we shall go about this the proper civilized way. An exam, to be taken by every single member of the Luftwaffe, from the highest general to the men who sweep the hangars. If they can't get even this right, then it's time to show them the door. So this one gives us 50 air experience. That's actually pretty good. We got 2 flying aces, get even takeoff, military professionalism will improve, but regime stability is going to drop slightly. But it is still fine. Poverty is gonna drop below 40% soon, which is amazing. Okay, we get 2 more cruisers. Actually, 2 more light cruisers. This fleet is completely done, with the exception of the frigates. This one is also completely done, with the exception of frigates. This one is done completely. Okay, you need more frigates. So we're gonna get the 4 that we are training now. I'll actually leave 2 behind. There's been just 1 for now, so that we will replace the 2 as well. Bliche and Prince Eugene are gonna join this fleet. Terrorist attack in Italy. Today the Italian nation woke up to tragic news. A bomb exploding in the bank of Piazza Fontana, Milan, has killed 17 people and wounded several dozen. While this is not the first terrorist attack that has occurred in the country since its return to democracy, it is the most deadly yet, and certainly the one most shocking for the public opinion, as it struck in the heart of Italy's second largest city. While the government promised a quick investigation that would deliver the terrorists to justice, in truth the motives and perpetrators of the bombing are shrouded by mystery. However, the most probable culprit seemed to be a gang... Pardon me. Let me just get a sip of my tea. I've been recording for a couple of hours now. Not good for my throat. The most probable culprit seemed to be a gang of radical anarchists based in Milan. This event has only contributed to the ferocious political clashes happening every day on the Italian streets between striking workers, policemen, student groups, and even neo-fascist organizations. Many are losing hope in Italy's nascent democracy, and some speculate that this is only the start of a long period of violence and terror in the country. A young democracy threatened by radicalism. Okay, so this is a big chapter, I guess. At dawn, it is not just night that dies, it is man and his becoming, and the warm blood staining the pavement is a word that is just starting. Riccardo Manerini. Hot autumn ends. Christian liberalism. So I guess Italy is entering a new period. Yep, they got a focus tree they're working through here. Complications of the East. Unchain the Sim. Limit civilian oil consumption. Race 1. Huh. We'll see. So here's the event takeoff. With the modernization efforts of the Wehrmacht in full swing, the Luftwaffe has been granted all the needed funds and personnel to develop new improved aircraft to press into service as soon as possible. However, an airplane is much more complicated than a gun or a tank, and even the testing process reflects this. Once the research department has finalized the proposed designs, the testing truly begins with the flight tests. In this phase, unfortunately, pilots are put at the helm of what can range from a perfectly functional jet fighter to a flying coffin only waiting to close itself on the poor sod. Takeoff accidents, on-air engine failures, sudden airframe detachments, and many, many more. The list of the problems experienced by testing pilots is only as long as the list of the causes of their deaths, and many promising aviators have met their untimely end just because the one in charge of development forgot to factor a zero, or to put a comma where it was needed. Still, no one can deny that the results of this tear-filled process are extremely promising, and so the airstrips of the military airports across the Reich fill with strange, barely flying planes, challenging the laws of physics with frames barely kept together with glue, thread, and the fervent prayers of their pilots. I'm not boarding that thing. Okay, so this should bring us very close to the end of the tree. Yeah, soldiers like any others. But now we need to do the Knight's Solid Honor. The sources of the Luftwaffe's unusually high pay and pensions are an open secret. Goering certainly had a talent for managing the dirty side of finance. He spent years pouring the state's wealth, the people's wealth, directly into the pockets of his favorite officers. That's to say nothing of the gifts and benefits that every man above a certain rank currently enjoys. Such profligacy has no place in our regime. Soldiers, regardless of their rank and personal status, had to earn their pay the same as many other professionals. A thorough audit into the Luftwaffe's budget will be conducted and any discrepancies investigated to the maximum possible extent. There will be no more special relationship between the state and any of its institutions. So this hits our political power by 50, but we get administrative efficiency bonus and increases monthly pension policy effectiveness, but lowers war support by 5%. But I think we'll live. Yeah, the inflation is really high. But the good news is that we are catching up with the Americans. That was something that I didn't think possible in the past few years. Synthetic oil investment. Okay, and we got the advanced frigate How Now, which is awesome. So, we need the depth charges for them. The development of nuclear submarines corresponded with an ever more specialized role of depth charges. Rather than being able to engage submarines underwater, they became better adapted to react submarines attempting to breach the surface. They became better adapted to react to submarines attempting to breach the surface or to constrict movement. Okay. But let us look at the frigates anyway, because the old ones are really old now. So we had the Kiel class here, and yeah, they're a torpedo and against submarine. French Republic has beaten the French state in the chaos of the French War, and we finished the artillery. Okay, so you guys now have a decent amount of divisions in case the Ordenstaat decides to attack again. So wait, what did we... Oh, the artillery, yeah. So now let's go with the advanced anti-air. The rapidly changing situation above the ground meant that anti-air guns needed to be able to move quickly from one place to another. Towed anti-air made this possible. Modern anti-air weaponry, advanced soft anti-air armament, advanced hard anti-air armament, improved heavy anti-air, 20mm CIWS, and outdated equipment in production. Yep. This is gonna be massive. 768 needed. Okay. So let's make this possible. 2 there. Okay. So we're gonna start focusing on upgrading our units. And you guys are done with all of the equipment, meaning I can start drilling you, which is gonna consume a lot of fuel, but also it's gonna give us a bit more army experience, because we need to design that new tank. So I think we can actually look at that at this point. Oh god, we're not getting anything, are we? Turret. 2-man turret. 3-man turret would be better. Main armament. So we have a modern main battle tank cannon. Piercing 150. That seems like a best choice. Yep. You are mostly used for breakthrough and armor. So let's get improved radio. Definitely, that helps with defense and breakthrough. Secondary turret, huh? RVS autocannon. Or protected machine gun turret. No, the RVS autocannon is way better. Heavily low survivability, but we got 145, that is cool. And special modules. So, extra armor plating. Okay. Anti-tank guided missile. Further increases breakthrough. Heater, dozer blade. NBC protection. Spalliner. Okay, stabilizer heavily increases breakthrough. Mechanical device to keep the gun pointing in the same direction where the tank is moving. So let's get stabilizer. And the rest, the last one is going to be... We don't really need to do anything with reliability at this point, to be quite honest. Autoloader, defense and breakthrough. 57. An automatic mechanism that loads shells and allows the tank to keep a high rate of fire for a prolonged period of time. That seems like a good thing. Additional machine gun. Active protection system would heavily increase defense, but we're gonna have something else for defense. Smoke emitter, breakthrough and defense. Defense 1, breakthrough 2. Defense 2, breakthrough 3. Okay, autoloader is better. So let's do it as this. Suspension, boogie suspension, which is the worst one. Hydropneumatic suppression, torsion bar. Interweave the road wheels and increase the suspension. No, hydropneumatic suspension would be the best. This gives us breakthrough of 63.2, defense of 24.7, soft attack 52, hard attack 46, and piercing 150. And we can actually afford this. The Leopard A1R has defense 20, we have 24.7, breakthrough 50.6, we got 63.2, hardness 85, that's the same, soft attack 45, we got 52, hard attack 25, we got 36, max speed is abysmal, but we can fix that, Armor 130, and we got only 50, so that needs to improve heavily. Piercing 120, we got 150, and reliability 83, we got 135. Fuel usage is okay. So what we need to do next is basically this. Get armor to 16, at that point it will have 130. Which is the same thing that the Leopard A1R has, but if we wanted to improve the engine as well... Okay, what was the speed of you? 14.9, so there you would have 18. And reliability 59%, okay, that's not great. Engine type, can we give you diesel engine? Okay, a diesel engine would be better. 67.2 compared to 83%, that's not great. Jesus, 67.2 is actually really bad. Autoloader, stabilizer, radio, riveted armor. Oh, okay, so I can actually put the cast armor here. I forgot about that. So cast armor further increases this. So if we went with 130, that's still a boost to armor. Okay, this is way better. So this one, max speed 16.7. And you got 14.9. Armor would still go up to 130. Yeah, everything would be better as this, so... Okay, 51 XP. Who has that? We don't. So, let me remove this. Because we can do this as a prototype. Still we need 27 XP. Okay, so let's keep riveted armor for now. And let's keep gasoline engine for now. And we're gonna call this Leopard 2 A1, and we are going to have to work on that design a bit more once we get enough experience points, but I'm gonna save it already so that we actually have the template, because this is pretty good. What we need to change is the armor and the type of the engine, and then boost the engine and armor. Okay, so now I can put this away. What the hell? Okay, like this, because that was looking really stupid. Cool, so we have designed the prototype of the tank. Happy about that. The Resistance wins the French Civil War. The French Civil War has come to a shocking conclusion as the Resistance stands victorious, proclaiming new French Republic in the wake of their victory. Many people, both in France and in the rest of the world, thought that the Resistance was little more than a myth after the harsh crackdown of Philippe Pétain. That was proven wrong when they rose up at the advent of the French Civil War. Now, many French citizens celebrate the victory of the Resistance in the streets. Meanwhile, in the halls of power, elections are already being planned to ensure that the citizens of France finally have a true say in their government once again. Against all odds, it seems that the torch of democracy has finally returned to France. No focus though. No focus. The inflation is decimating us. Oh, and we finished that focus. So let's go with Clear the Skies. Regime stability is lowered, reformist cause will benefit, we improve our military professionalism, lose a bit of political power, spend 55 million, and we get a 95% reduction on air doctrine. Corruption runs even deeper if the Luftwaffe than we thought. The vast majority of its officers were on Göring's payroll at some point, and few have proven their value in recent years. They spend their hours on the job the same way as they do at home. lounging around on fine imported furniture, sipping cognac and showing off their collection of undeserved medals. It's time these preening peacocks were put out to pasture. There's no room in our new Luftwaffe for glory hounds and layabouts. They can keep their mansions, their medals, and their pensions, but no more. No more black market goods purchased with state funding. No more bits of gold for no effort. No more annual gifts from the Führer. Yes. And we are so approaching 1970. Actually, if Russian Empire had their head screwed on correctly, this would be the best time to attack Commonwealth of Siberia. Because while their army is fighting the far eastern Soviet Socialist Republic, they are completely vulnerable from an invasion from the west. Oh god. Oh god, the inflation. It keeps growing, even. But hey, if this is correct, we might actually jump over the Americans at the end of this year. Meaning first... No, actually no, it's gonna take a couple more months, but we should be able to become the biggest, as far as economy goes, nation in the world. I certainly do hope so. We're burning the fuel like there's no tomorrow, though. This is insane. But hey, the new tanks are going to be a huge boost to the performance of our units. Better industrial equipment, increasing in administrative efficiency, yes. So we get modern industrial equipment. No, we replace modern industrial equipment with cutting-edge industrial equipment. Resource gain efficiency, construction speed, factory output, and dockyard output all increased by 10%. Annual GDP growth factor increased by 2%. Consumer goods production factor increased by 10%. Military industry equipment cost factor increased by 15%. Naval industry cost by 10% increase. But society development progress plus 25%. The economy is doing great, and new reforms in industrial subsidizing have resulted in the shipping of updated industrial equipment across the country. Products are being produced quicker and cheaper. The further progress of mechanization into the once ossified industrial world will prove a boon to worker and manager alike. I like this. This is like a propaganda piece from the 60s. No more long, horrible hours. No more subpar products screwed in by imperfect human hands. Industry continues her march forward. These were a long time coming, however. Increases in budgets and renewed focus on what our industries are making have increased support for much needed renovation of our country's industrial equipment. Oh yes. And increase in administrative efficiency. Over the past 3 months, our government bureaucracy has experienced a whirlwind of reforms. Communication between the various levels and branches of government is taking place with tremendous efficiency, benefiting from a sweeping tide of well-earned promotions in the bureaucracy to other, less conventional methods being employed to counter resistance in the ministries. The ship of the state now sails smoothly, unburdened by incompetence and the rotten specter of corruption. From now on, we can expect our nation laws and government programs to be enforced with rigorous vigor. The ongoing trend of progress will no doubt mark the emergence of a more robust government apparatus, one far better equipped to govern our people and enforce our laws. So functional administrative system is replaced with streamlined bureaucracy, 10% extra political power, supply consumption lowered by 5%, extra 10% stability, drift defense against ideology increased by 10%, supply range increased by 5%, social program cost factor lowered by 5%, and consumer goods lowered by 1%. Yep, the deficit dropped to 20.22 billion, meaning our debt to GDP will drop faster because we are now in small deficit. Actually, we lowered by 0.2% I think this month. Anyway, this is a great place to end the episode. I thank you very much for joining me. I'm gonna go have some more tea and then continue recording. Maybe in the evening I might do some more Came into Cosmos now. So, till then, you guys, take care.